And next we will jump to another topic on the inheritance. Okay? So inheritance is one of the key features in object-oriented programming that help us to create new class from the existing class. It means that we allow us to reuse our code. For example, you have already created that functionality before, and sometime later you want to improve it, you want to add more feature, you want to fix some bugs. Yes, we don't directly modify on that class. You can create a new one, make inheritance. If everything is alright, okay, you switch your production server to use the new class. Okay. So there are some keywords. We have the parent class and subclass. As you can see in this picture, we have class A and class B. We have the arrow. Okay. We have the extend keyword. So arrow here, the class A is representing as an existing class, or we call it parent class, superclass, base class, and we create a new class that inherit from this class. So we have class B. We can use the keyword extend. We see in the next few slides. So this class B is called child class, subclass, or derivative class. So the rule is that whatever we have in class A, we can use in class B if they are not private. Okay. Private access modifier can only use in its class cell. It's a class. Okay. So in class B, it can use everything from class A, variable, method, constructor, but only if they are not private. Okay. So here's the example. We create an employee class which have one variable salary. Okay. So you can create more variable, more constructor, more method. This is just a very simple example. We create only one variable. And sometime later we create a class, let's say programmer, class programmer, extend employee. So extend keyword here representing the inheritance functionality, where we have everything in employee we can use by the programmer class if they are not private. So it means that the salary in this case, it can be used in the programmer. So when we create in main function, program p equal new programmer salary p.salary. So it means here salary is actually inside the employee class. Now we create a programmer object p. We can say p.salary because salary is located in the parent class employee and it is not private. So that means that the child class can use it. Okay. p.bana, okay, we can access to the bana's variable. Yes, we will go into the code in more detail. So the most important use in inheritance is about code reusability, including data, method, and constructors. Whatever that parent have, the child can use if they are not private. So I repeat, if they are not private, because private refers to something is used only by itself. So we have something happen. For example, in parent class, you have one method. And then sometime later you create the child class which extend from the parent class. And accidentally you have the same method. Everything looks very the same. The name, the return type, the parameter, they are exactly the same. So it means that in this case we call method overriding. Method in our child class override to the parent class. Because we have something already taken from the parents and you try to create yourself one more, so it's override. Okay, so we can actually use the parents or we can use our cell class. Okay, it's okay, we can achieve by polymorphism. For example, in this case, as you can see, we have the display functions and then we have the dog class extend anymore get info. So in case that we have another function, let's say display also inside the dog class, so it will override to the parent class about. So basically we have 5 types of inheritance. We have single inheritance, one-to-one, multiple inheritance. It means that a child have more than 2 other class that extends. Then one like class C extend from A or class C extend from B, for example. And we have also multi-level. As you can see here, they have many class. They are hierarchy, right? one under another. Okay. And we have another one, what we call hierarchical inheritance. It means that one class is extended by more than one subclass. We also have hybrid inheritance. It's a bit complicated. They are merging between the multiple inheritance as well as the hierarchical inheritance together. They're all hybrid. Such as through remark, Java does not support multiple inheritance. This is to simplify the implementation to make it more complex. Okay. So basically, inheritance is a relationship, what we call is a relationship, that we can use only if between two classes we can say is a relationship. For example, we have the car class and we have the vehicle class. You can also make an inheritance, right? So car is a vehicle, orange is a fruit, surgeon is a doctor, and dog is an animal. So suppose you have a doctor class, you can sometimes later create a class that you use what is have in the parents, surgeons, and other type of class. So overriding methods, or sometimes we say method overriding. It happens when the child class has the same method to those method in parent class. So just remember, parent class is referring to the existing class. Child class is a new class that we're trying to create and reuse what we have in the parent class. So we have the same method in here, the dog function it, but in the parent animal, it also has the same function. So this is called overriding method, where you can activate this in the main program. You create an object dog and we call the function it and bark. So when you say it here, it will refer to the child because the child also have its own, although this one is also actually can be used in the animal parent class, but it's one override. So when you say the object name dot this method, it will use the child itself because it overrides. Okay? I think we are ready enough for the very basic theory on how inheritance is. We'll explore in our code. Okay? So now let's get started. We back to the Eclipse. I'm going to create a package. Let's say inheritance. Okay, finished. So we create an inheritance class here. Let's say we have the, let's say, also you see the employee already. Let's say I'm going to create a person class. So basically a person, they normally have something, right? The name, the gender and age, for example. Okay. Let's say we have this. Okay. So in here you can create some of the function constructor, whatever. So let's say create the constructor here, one constructor. This constructor has no parameter. I have another one constructor. Just remember the constructor has the same name to the class name. So I'm going to create 3 parameters for the constructor, age, and string gender. Okay. Because they have the same name, so let's use this dot name equal to named, this dot age equal to age, this dot gender equal to gender. If you remember to our previous video, we're trying to avoid the name, right? You say an A, this is G, instead of typing the same name. This is to avoid the conflict. So now we will learn this keyword. It's fine. Just a remark here, if we put something like this, as you can see in the clip, it shows you something. The assignment to variable name has no affect. It means that they're the same, there is no affect to this variable, only itself. So I put this class have a variable name, so it means this one, and this is taken from the parameter, okay, the closest data. You can create more constructor as you wish, only having the name, for example. It is fine because they are overloading constructors. No parameter, 3 parameter, and 1 parameter. Okay. There's the name equal names. So I give the something the age. This age call one, let's say 1 years old. In the default gender for this, let's say male, example, whatever this is, you give a default by your. So next I'm going to create also one function, public y. We have to call, say we have the function called display. Okay, I'm gonna display our data. So basically we have the name, we have the gender, and we have the age. Okay, so let's say this is one function. So sometime later you can create another class. Let's say this one is called student. So whatever the person have here, for example, you may have some more method verify information like the age. There must be a positive number. The gender must be given the same, the right text, male or female. It cannot be something else that are not relevant. So now you can create inheritance extend here using the extend keywords person. Okay. So from this class, whatever we have inside the person, we can use in student class. Okay. Let's say I'm gonna create only one data here. Let's say student ID. Okay. And then we also have the function or whatever function you have. Né? So now let's make it very simple. I only have one variable in here. So I'm going to create a main class. Let's say main class. Okay. Main program, and then include the main function. So in this case, we're gonna create a class called students. Okay. Let's say s1 for new student. Okay. Because we don't have constructor inside here, student, current class has no constructor. Okay. So we can create something like this. No? But if you have your own constructor, let's say you create your constructor in here. Let's say student ID, this that student ID, student ID. You say something like this will no acceptable anymore, right? Because the default constructor has no exist anymore. We're trying to create our own, so it's not defined. So in case you create your own, you can also create one more constructor that has no parameter. That would make your program in main that creates by calling this constructor. There will be no error, right? Because you have this one. This is just a remark. So I'm gonna create and pass something like this. So then they have the ID. Let's say U1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's it. So in this student objects, we only create one variable student. However, they are inherited from the person class. So whatever we have inside this person, we can choose that. Okay. So let's say I put s1. This one we have the function s1 dot. As you can see, age, gender, name, and so on. They are retrieved from the person class. So now we can use with the s1 object. So for this display, so I'm gonna create this one. Then because why? Because in this person class here, we display the name, gender, so on and so forth. However, this variable has no value yet. String is also an object, so the default one is null, while integer is 0. So if I put s1.studentID, yes, this will retrieve the student ID, right? We're gonna display something in here. Sorry, this is the student ID, right? What we get because we try to assign the values through constructor. So in this case, as you can see, we create a student. But if we try to access the data, display information, it does not exist. Okay. When we say S1 the display, it's gonna display information in the parent class. So in this class, we can also create one more function to display the information or whatever. So I'm gonna say y. You can add a public, it's fine. Display, I'm gonna override with the parent class. And we will say something here. Okay, can you use a from person? Okay. So I'm gonna say public y. Make it the same because we already create public. Okay. By default, it has the default access modifier. So I'm gonna override this method, as you can see here. Override inheritance. Okay. So let's say we informate. Also display the student ID. And we also have the name, right, where we can get it the same to here. I'm gonna copy this because they are the same. Okay, just add student also ID also here. So now if I create this function and then we call s1.display, so we'll work with the function in the child class, right, which is the student. Here we have the student ID and also this information. Because this information we don't have anything yet, so we got nothing. Okay. So from this structure, after you call this, you can actually activate to this constructor, right? But to set some information like the age, the gender, and so on. So from the student here, you can activate your parent constructor. So instead of doing this, I'm gonna create, let's say, this constructor. It takes one parameter, right? Parent here, the name. So the name here, which is something given, it depends on your own. So I'm gonna say this, and then let's see the name of the person given from here. Let's see John. So if we put something like this, as you can see, constructor call must be the first sampling constructor. So in case that you have the constructor here, you want to activate the parent constructor, so you should say something in here. However, in this case, we are trying to access to the parent, so you can have a keyword what we call super. Super keyword will activate to the parent and make sure that when we activate constructor, it should be located at the very first. As you can see here, and you can move this around. Okay, that's fine, right? But if you use this keyword in the first part, you will say something error. Say something constructor should be located in the first statement. So we just move a little bit to avoid the error. So we call to the parent constructor. And you take the name here, as you can see, blah 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 here. Okay, take this one, do something, right? So I'm now gonna run. Say John male 1 because these are given from this default value. Okay. So in here we can also add some more information. Instead of doing this, let's say we pass the name, okay, ID in the name. So we can create one more constructor in here in order to get the name, right? Students strings names student ID. Okay. So we have the name and we have the ID, so we can call the super, right, parent constructor by providing the name. This dot student ID equal to student ID given from the parameter. Okay. So we have two constructors in here. So we're gonna say, let's say s1 again. We add through this parameter, we have name and student ID. So I'm gonna say add name here. Yes. So we can get this, right? Because this one get from this one, and we have s1.display will access to the class. Let's say student. We have the display function and we display the ID, the name, so on and so forth. Okay. However, if we don't have this class, so it means that in our main program here, the object s1 also get the function display, but display here from where? Not from student, because we don't have this, so it's from the parent. So we display name, gender, and age only. So we run this, yes. So we activate some functions and constructor, and also access some variable in parent is fine. We can do this using inheritance, right? Let's say you want to know the age. What is the age of this object? Yes, we can get, right? Okay. Just to remember in here, whatever we have in here, they are not private, we can use. However, if we have something here, it is called private. See, I put private here. This is called something error, right? It is not found, and the field student person age is not visible because age is only private, is only available inside the class person. Although we have the inheritance student extend person, but student cannot use the private variable. Okay? This is just to remember. We cannot access data that are private. Okay? So just put this back. Put private. Okay. However, if we set private, we have another one concept, what we call encapsulation. We provide private and then we create a public function, get, let's say get age. You can return, right, because it's public, so everyone can use it. Let's say you have this one, private, right, and then we can create one function, let's say get age. Then you return the age. So inside this class, because it is itself, so the get age function can return the private data. So it means that in the class that wanna get this age, you can use age here. Get age, right? So you also get the age, right? Although it is private, but you can still allow them to use through the public function. So in this function, yeah, you can add validation rule as you like. Let's say you provide the key as pull through parameter, and then you check condition. If the key is right, okay, you return the age, otherwise you return something else. So this is, you can security your data variable. So the main here, what is called, this process is called encapsulation. We'll explore later, where we set variable as private, and we have the function get age. Get, we also have the set as well. In order to update this data, we can access through the function, what we call a set. For example, we have the public here, y set age, and then we provide the age. You can say this dot a equal age. So age can also be updated through this public function. So whatever you are trying to update the age from the main, if you say age equal 20, it doesn't allow because the age is hidden, it is not visible. However, you can access it through the set age function, set a, and you provide 20. Okay, as you can see, we allow access through methods. Okay, just we updated 20, we got that. This is get and set method. This is called encapsulation. We'll explore it later. I think that's too much for today. We will explore more in the next video. Just to recap, we have the class variable, we have the constructor, also have functions. So whatever we have in students, it is a child class because we extend them. Everything inside parents, we can use them, variable, method, constructor, but only if they are not private. So we call to go parent constructor by using super keyword. It's very similar like you use this, right? This refers to this class, super refer to super class. Okay, to this activate the constructor because we do something like this. If you say super dot something, the name, yes, you access the name as well. Okay, whatever you set, it is fine. Say ABC, right? But make sure that this should be after you call the constructor. Okay? Because super can be access to the parent, and you can do something here. Okay? So just comment this. Okay, thank you. See you in the next video.